the humbling, like, welcome to the world moment of leaving the soap, my ego was crushed. I also, looking back, was the first time in my life that I didn't have structure. And then to suddenly be on my own with these feelings, like both at once, it was like spontaneous combustion.
How did you deal with it?
I drank my face off.
I'm David Duchovny, and this is Fail Better, a show where failure, not success, shapes who we are. Tom Pelphrey is an actor best known for his work on the hit show Ozark, as well as on the brand new HBO series Task. It's a wonderful conversation, and one I feel really grateful to have had. Here's Tom Pelphrey. So say that again to me.
So I was
3 years ago.
3 years ago, living upstate New York, in the Catskill Mountains, halfway up a mountain, in the middle of the woods, on a dirt road. And I couldn't even see my neighbors. Yeah, me and my German Shepherd.
But it feels like there was a move before that to like go, I've got to get to this place where I can't see my neighbors and it's just me and my German Shepherd, right? Right? You know,
15 years of Brooklyn will do that to
Is that
you.
what it was?
Yeah, it was, I just had this, I loved it. I loved it upstate. I remember as a kid, like going to ski once a year for like 3 days or something to Vermont and being in the middle of the woods in a kind of cabin. Like it just felt so magical to me always, and like safe, and I don't know. And I'd never even been to upstate New York when I went up there and started looking for a house.
Because you're from Jersey.
From Jersey, yeah.
You never made it to upstate New York. Not that far.
No. Hey, once you're in Jersey, why you gotta
Why would
leave?
you leave? Why would you ever leave? Everybody's asking, why did he leave Jersey? But we dove right into that. So what's happened? You come out of college and you go right onto a soap opera, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what were the parameters for your sense of success or failure at that point? Because you came to acting in your late teens?
Yeah, 14.
Oh, 14?
Yeah.
Oh, that was early. Yeah.
I had an amazing high school teacher. He changed my life. I didn't even know I wanted to be an actor really until I met him.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, there's the surface version and then the deeper version, which I'm constantly probing for information. But, you know, it was, first of all, it was the first thing I was kind of good at, which surprised me because I didn't even really know I wanted to do it. But
did you have a sense at that age, when you were a kid, did you go, I want to be a success, or I'm just going to get by in life, or
no? I think
what
I
were the
wanted
dreams.
Yeah, I think I wanted to really be a success.
But you didn't know all of it. You didn't know at what.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking once I start acting, I want the moon and the stars.
You do, okay,
for sure.
Yeah.
And you know what? My parents were divorced, and so there was this 14-year-old boy who was craving a man, you know, and my teacher was incredible, and he was disciplined. I mean, he put in a work ethic that has never gone away, and he was intimidating, and he was fair, but firm, and a great, amazing teacher. Changed my life. And like
just at a public high school in New Jersey.
Public high school in New Jersey, just so literally the school I could jog to from my house turned out to have a performing arts program.
Yeah.
Just
with a great teacher.
With an amazing teacher, with an amazing human being who cared that did a good job and that I show up on time and that I and that I treat everyone I work with a certain way, and that I'm whenever I do this, I get to be a small part of something bigger, like an entire ethos building from that encounter.
Yeah. And you code it, and I code it as male mentorship. You know,
100%.
It's very important. And I think we lose track of that as we've kind of, gotten to attack certain male aspects of our society, which I rightly, we also don't want to lose track that boys need men, and they need men like this to say things that are very simple. And maybe I could sound like Jordan Peterson from time to time, but it is show up on time, be respectful, I'm not saying make your bed, but it's like, but it is. There are these, be of service, be a team player. These are the kind of man-to-man things that a boy needs, especially, as you're saying, a boy who maybe didn't have as much of his father as he wanted at that point.
100%. And my dad loved me and I love my dad.
Right.
It's just a numbers game. Like who's around you all the time. Right. That's all it is. It's just, and so that went in there, and then I just thought, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. I didn't even know that it was a possibility, I didn't think it was something you could take seriously. Even at that age, I thought it was kind of like silly.
Right.
It was not silly with Mr. Kazakov. You know what I mean? And,
right.
and it was serious, and he had a lot of respect for it, and he demanded that you did too. And so that changed. I was like, okay, this is something you can really do.
Right. And so you go to Rutgers, and you finish Rutgers, and you immediately you get on the guiding light. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, because I tried out for soaps when I was first acting too. I started a little older than you, but I really wanted to get one of those soaps because I just wanted to work a lot.
Yeah.
And when I look back on how I learned about acting, there are certain things that you can learn with a teacher, and then there's the other things that you learn by working, by doing.
Yeah.
And instinctually, I think I knew that I needed to go to work every day, that I wasn't going to be one of these actors that just like got it right away, but that I'm a grinder.
Yeah.
So the X-Files for me was my grind. It was like I had to go every 14 hours a day and teach myself how to act. So by the third year, I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get it. But I wouldn't have gotten it if I'd gone movie to movie to movie, just quick pops. So I think like that's why I wanted like to get a soap that I never did. I think people, because of our stratified kind of hierarchy of what's art, movies, TV, soaps, you lose track of like the moral fortitude that it takes to go in and do that much work every day, and to be responsible for it, and to pull it off. And I wonder what it was like for you, like be thrown into that area where it's like, oh, I got to do 10 pages this morning,
And that would be a light day sometimes.
Right.
I mean, we film 55 pages a day pretty much, because you're doing a full hour of TV every day, a new episode, and we have 1 week off a year.
And let's put it in perspective for people that don't know. On a TV show, you're probably filming 5 pages a day. On a movie, you could film 2 pages a day, 1 page a day. So you're 55 pages a day.
55 pages, unless a light fell on your head, you're doing it once.
So you teach that's different from being in high school and in class with this guy. Yes. All of a sudden, like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I'd never been in front of a camera before.
Right.
I mean, everything I'd done had been theater. When we were at Rutgers, we got to go study Shakespeare at the Globe.
Right.
That was the kind of world I was living in. And then all of a sudden you get this job, which was so incredible in so many ways for that reason of like, we're going to basically pay you to learn how to be in front of a camera. I got to work with amazing actors, really good people who were very like supportive and helpful and encouraging. And because it's airing a month later, you kind of still keep it in your head. So I would watch it to try and learn. Yeah. And, one of the things I remember, my first impression of myself was this like coming from theater, everyone's like, you're going to be in front of a camera. Don't move. Don't do anything. Like, okay. And then I watch myself. It looks like I have a pole just shoved right up my ass. And I'm like turning my head like this. I look like Frankenstein's monster. I was like, oh no, I took it too far.
But you got to adjust.
I got to adjust. I literally got to adjust by like knowing what I thought I felt like I was doing versus what did it look like.
Yeah.
And that like bridging that gap in my mind was the film trick, was the like being in front of a camera trick,
right,
which I never had to think about on the stage.
And has that continued to grow? That kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I most things I do, I'll watch at least once and like,
Yeah.
and always try and just think what could I do better? Not beating myself up. I really don't.
Right. Right.
And I don't revel in it either. It's like objectively,
Yeah.
okay, I like how that works. Oh, I see that maybe that didn't work so well. Every time trying to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great that you don't beat yourself up though, because a lot of people, a lot of actors do that. I mean, it sounds. I just went to a screening with somebody I know, and this person was really beating themselves up afterwards. And somebody asked me, "Are you like this too?" And I was like, "No, I like watching myself." I mean, it's not like I sit there. I'm loving it, but I do. I look at it as what's working and what's not working.
And that's all it is. I can definitely be hard on myself, but like as I've gotten older, it's chilled out because at a certain point, it's just not productive,
Right.
Like, I mean, I can't help it sometimes, but at the end of the day, if there's something to learn, I want to learn it. I don't want to start overcorrecting in bad ways because I
Right.
can't stand myself,
Right. Well, I mean, I was watching your recent work, which isn't out yet, Task, and I was really feeling that part of it, like that you were pulling me in, but you weren't. I didn't. It was really good. Your work was excellent, and it was mysterious, and you just want more from you. Even when you had the mask on, I felt it was you.
Oh,
like
wow.
just in your voice.
Wow. Yeah.
And a very physically commanding presence in this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. How were you able to do that at a young age? Because
that was terror. What happened was, no, really, I think, because when I was talking about the X-Files, whatever, I mean, I really thought I was the shit in the beginning. Like I thought, yeah, I'm great. And then I watched myself and I was like, no, something's a little tight. Something's a little afraid here, a little under the gun. And that was my adjustments, was to loosen up, like you, just like let the moment breathe, because at first with the X-Files, we didn't have 55 pages, but we had 8 or 9 pages, and it was a lot of this, and it was scary, like have to act like what you're talking about, in monologues like this with scientific jargon and all the facts and exposition, shit like that. I was like under the gun. But I think what you're asking and what I would speak to is I always felt like somebody's going to see what I'm doing. Like I'm not going to adjust it too much, because I know, even if I don't look like I'm feeling anything, I know I'm feeling something, and somebody's going to see that. I know I got something here. I know I got something. I'm not going to try and do it this other way. Part of the not doing it the other way was fear, because like I don't want to be seen acting. Like I don't want to be too big. And that was a bullshit fear, because like who cares?
Right. Yeah.
So like now I feel much more free to do like bigger stuff. So that's good too. But there was also the sense in which like I wanted to make you come to me, and I didn't want to like have to go out and get you,
Yeah. Well, I am not afraid of the big acting.
But you never were. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Yeah.
And it was also like, I think some of that is just tied into like in theater to some extent. That's actually much better. Like it more help. Yeah. And by big, I don't mean bad, although I'm sure I've been bad a million times, but just like turning up the volume. But what you're saying, that to me is like, how is that not linked to confidence? Like, how is that not linked to, I know that if I sit here and have this thought, it's going to read.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
Well, I was 31. I mean, I started later.
Still, man.
But I could go back and tell you it's narcissism or neurosis. I could tell you I'd been an athlete, so I was watched. I was comfortable being watched.
Yeah.
I was comfortable objectifying myself, I guess.
Huh.
I was comfortable thinking of myself as an object, and therefore I could say, well, that object works. I could look at myself objectively.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm
amazing.
speaking bullshit right now.
No. But what you're saying all adds up to what I'm getting at. That's just,
Yeah.
it's just impressive that they put all that together. At
Well, I
31.
didn't. Like you said, I mean, it's like you don't put these things together. Like I wouldn't have been able to write that down.
Right.
It was just like, fuck, I really feel like I'm doing something. And I can't tell you how many auditions I had that I didn't get where the feedback was like, yeah, he's too flat, or he's like, the nice way to put it was like, because I was going out for TV because I needed to make some money to live, and the nice feedback was he's a movie star. And the bad feedback was, well, he's a movie star, he can't be in our TV show, is basically what it is. Or it was flat, or, like not doing enough, or, stuff like that. So that was kind of where I was living. Like, oh, shit, like, how do I bridge that gap between those two things?
Yeah.
But you go from the soap, and at that point, like you said, you wanted it all. So you're on the soap, and I'm sure you're aware, like, soap's on the bottom. Like, even though you're happy to be working.
Yeah, this was the humbling, like, welcome to the world moment of leaving the soap. Been on there for 2.5 years, make some money, get some compliments, won a few daytime Emmys,
right.
Feeling like surely the world is ready to roll out the red carpet for my arrival.
How old are you?
When I left, 24.
You're
24, 25.
Really young. Yeah.
And it didn't. And I was destroyed. I mean, it feels pathetic to even admit that, but I was. My ego was crushed. And I also, looking back, was the first time in my life that I didn't have structure.
Yeah.
Like, I went high school, college, and college was intense. Like, college was 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. classes, main stage show, 7 to 11. We had 3 black box theaters they gave us access to, and we were hungry for it. We'd go every night, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. and rehearse our own shows.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We'd pick a play, direct it, do our own lights. I mean, it was such an amazing experience, but so busy, just constantly working. The soap was the same, every day, all day. And then to suddenly be on my own with these feelings, like, both at once, it was like spontaneous combustion.
How did you deal with it?
I drank my face off. We were talking a minute ago, but, I got sober, God willing, October 1st will be 12 years. And it was a complete paradigm shift. It was a complete restructuring of, like, what I thought I was and how I saw things. Like, I am a fan of your show, and I've listened to it a lot. And yeah, well, I just think it's so, to me, the most important thing. I don't know how else I would learn. And I certainly, knowing myself, don't know how else I would change anything unless things became so uncomfortable or painful or worse that I had to,
So can you explain to me the paradigm shift that happened when you got sober? Because I think people are very interested in, they hear a lot about 12 steps and a lot of people know about it, but the kind of ego death and whatever happens in that paradigm shift. And then it seems to me that in the middle of your journey of life, but also of sobriety, that you take it a step further and you go, up to the mountain.
Yeah.
And so are you there going on meetings on Zoom, or what are you just kind of like isolated up there? But if you could talk about that paradigm shift and then that further shift to the mountain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't really in meetings. I didn't really get a sponsor to this. It was year 7, year 8. It was a very different journey for me.
Oh, so you were doing it alone.
Yeah. So I think the paradigm shift that I experienced was, everything was about, my whole identity was actor.
Right.
And this wasn't something that I was conscious of at the time. Looking back, I can see that my whole identity was actor, and therefore, if I was succeeding and doing well at that, then I had value as a human being. But if I wasn't, I had no value. And I was increasingly struggling to have value, and I was struggling with, addiction to alcohol, and obviously it only gets worse. So, towards the end, really in a dark place in terms of like self-worth and direction. And so in getting sober, I don't even know, because I don't want to give myself credit here,
Right.
because it kind of happened spontaneously and simultaneously. But in the surrendering of the sort of the demon of addiction, something else kind of got surrendered along with it, which was, I even remember a week sober waking up like, wow, like I feel good.
What is this feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd been so used to waking up like feeling like I got hit by a truck.
You're
like,
not just talking about like being hungover. You're talking about some kind of.
Well, I think there's multiple layers of truth to how bad you feel.
Yeah.
Like, yes, being hungover, because that was brutal,
Yeah.
but also, something I noticed, let's say a month into sobriety, was my baseline had changed. And so I thought a lot about it, and I was like, what is different? And I don't feel this steady hum of shame and guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you want more of that, right? And you go,
Oh
okay,
my
I need more
God.
of that. Yeah, shame and guilt to me is, especially shame. Guilt is one thing. Guilt is kind of, to me, it's workable. You can make amends for that. You can speak to the people who you've offended in some way or hurt.
Sure.
And you can, figure out the extent of it.
Yeah.
The extent of your responsibility. But shame is like a free-floating concept. Shame is like the air that you're breathing. Shame is the water that you're swimming in. And if you're not aware of that, then it just feels like you're swimming in shitty water all the time.
Well, and how, there's so many things about addiction that I find endlessly fascinating. But like, how could one be aware when one has gradually gotten it, like
Right.
the boiling the frog,
Yes, yeah.
And so the levels of shame had just risen to, I didn't really notice until it was gone. And when it was gone, I felt like a new being. And it was almost scary in a way, because all of a sudden there's so much space to fill up.
Yeah.
But those two things, and more like them, but like led to a very quick realization, and then a conscious decision to pursue well-being. Like I was like, I want to take care of this feeling and this human being, and work will be secondary.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that was the paradigm shift in that sense.
Paradigm shift. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, maybe not coincidentally, I started working a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the things that people get afraid of when they get sober, or at least I did, even for me getting into therapy, like if somebody's going to explain to me what's wrong with me, or because I was convinced that what's wrong with me was getting me work, like in some
Yes,
way, right?
yes,
Right.
yes.
So like it's like that, it's the goose that lays the golden eggs. It's like I got to keep that going, because otherwise it's just going to be eggs, and everybody has eggs. They're not going. So I had this kind of prejudice against figuring my shit out, or not just figuring it out, because that's one thing, but actually living a life that's in accordance with what and it was tough. What was also tough was like the 12 steps are for everyone, and they're very simple. And I was like, I'm way too complicated for that. You know what I mean? It's like that thing. It's like, how could it work for you and me? How can it work? That doesn't make any sense. It's like you got to tailor made. you got to make it for me, and we'll figure it out or whatever. So I was dealing with a lot of that shit, and like you, it seems that you got immediately kind of corroboration from the world that you were doing something right. As you said, the work picked up or whatever. So it wasn't that, oh my God, what am I going to do without this darkness and this addiction? How am I going to be an actor without that?
Well, it was before I did it.
Yeah.
It was all those things. It was terror. I mean, I've never been so terrified in my life. I think I can say that honestly. But leading up to it, there was just a moment of like when I kind of realized versus the moment where for some reason for me, I knew once I said it out loud to somebody else, the whole thing would change. And the space in between those two things, the amount of terror I felt was off the charts because it was that. It was like, well, who the hell? Who am I? Literally, who am I?
Yeah.
Because this is a part of everything that I do. And it's what I look forward to and it's what I remember. I literally don't know who I am. And that's the, if we want to get really kind of metaphysical, but that's the part where to be reborn, you have to die.
Right.
And that's terrifying. I got into therapy at some point and there was a while in the beginning there where I was like, this is just making me feel worse. Like, man.
Why? Why was it making you feel worse?
Because I think, what am I trying to say? I think we can encounter people who can help us at a certain time in a certain place, and then sometimes you need somebody else.
Right.
And I think at a certain point with the first lady who was lovely, I went in her office and she's like, listen, we're working together for a while, and she's like, you're dissociating all the time. I was like, is that what that is?
What did she mean by that?
Well, I would just say to her, sometimes things would happen and I felt like I was observing. And that's part of the reason I even started therapy, because here I am, sober and in a way feeling better than I've ever felt.
You know what you're making me think of? Oh, man.
Tell me.
I always say I got into acting because I grew up with a mom who was, she's wonderful. She's a wonderful mom, but she was fragile.
Yeah.
So I had to be perfect, and I couldn't be fragile. I had to be the guy. And then I always thought I got into acting because I was like, oh, you get to scream at each other and nobody threatens to kill themselves. You get to do all that shit and there's no repercussions.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this place here. And then when you say dissociate, I was like, I saw it as a way to disassociate.
Yeah.
I saw it as like, here's where I can live a life of disassociation. And if I get successful enough, I'll never have to deal with any of it.
Yeah.
I'll just keep on like going to that space.
Right.
And obviously the ego stuff gets fed as well by success or whatever, and there's money and whatever. But really what I was going to was those times when I could actually feel something and feel safe in doing it. Like, not only safe, but like...
Yeah. Oh, not only safe, but you will be rewarded and applauded and all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you use that word, which I keep on mispronouncing, dissociation, I was like, fuck, yeah. I mean... I think I was looking for a life where I could continue to be disassociated.
Yeah.
And the more I could succeed, the more I could like pull that charade off.
Yeah. Well, I think that makes total sense.
For making me realize that.
You beat me to
it. But where were you before you made me realize that shit?
Well, that's amazing that was a realization in real time. That's
because I always thought, oh, this is so healthy that it's therapeutic. People talk about acting in a way. No, it's like anti-therapeutic. You're actually figuring out a way to keep your bullshit going, like keep your bifurcation going.
And you can easily see how simultaneously you could tell yourself a story whereby you are being sensitive, open, available.
Right.
Yeah, totally. No, that's the trap. It took me a while to realize that, but So dissociating, okay, but then you stop dissociating and now it's like, whoa, I have a lot of feelings. Yeah, right. And they're really intense. And it's overwhelming. Like all of a sudden I was like, no wonder I was drinking so much.
Well, you must have, I mean, like me, you must have known you had feelings. I mean, that's what you wanted to be an actor for. You wanted to go somewhere to have feelings.
But I thought that those were things that I could use at will in work.
That's it. And then
in a way, yeah. I mean, I didn't, and this is the comedy of all of this stuff. It sounds so silly, but it's also true.
I like looking at it all as a comedy because it is.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to not laugh. But I remember a few years sober working on this thing, and this guy I was working with, and I'd spent a lot of time with him up until that point. And I'm really still in, Neo in the Matrix mode. I just feel plugged in, so much learning and growth, especially at the beginning, because it'd been so stunted in so many ways. And we were going to dinner one night or something. I said, man, I think I'm intense. That was his response. He started laughing. He goes, "Are you kidding?" I didn't even know him very well. Yeah. He goes, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "You're the most intense guy I've ever met." I was like, I swear I always thought I was laid back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm the same. But I mean, I still.
You seem very easygoing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But so in so many ways, I was kind of a surprise to myself. And then eventually, and still now, talk to a Jungian analyst who just changed the game for me. And
can you give me a little bit about what that's about? Can you explain what Jungian analysis is? Because I've not had that myself.
Well, it's I don't know that I would do a fair job of summing up exactly what it is.
No, just what it means to you in a way.
He's taking much like what Gabor Mate seems to be doing, is taking things that might seem like a problem and asking the question, is this entire thing a problem, or is there something vital here that you've misunderstood or misdirected? So, when Bill W. is creating the 12 steps, he's in letter correspondence with Jung. There's a book of their letters.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. It's beautiful. But, to just pull a sort of idea from what Jung was saying to Bill W., he said, the only cure for spirits is spirit.
Right.
I mean, this is the foundation of the whole thing, right? And so that was to look at things that way, and in particular, that thing changes the entire landscape. Now you go, well, maybe that desire that you have, maybe that compulsion, maybe that impulse that you have is towards something greater. And maybe that's vital to who you are as a human being. That is the source of your beauty and creativity. That is what makes you you. If we didn't have that part of you, we would all be worse off for it. Right. And so how do we let go of the parts of it that are bad without crushing the part of it that might be the most important thing about us?
Right.
Yeah.
Delicate surgery.
And then feeling good all of a sudden was all the sort of motivation I needed to just go seek out more understanding of what had happened and why I felt good now. And it was a ton of books. It was going to every Buddhist monastery in Manhattan to try and learn how to meditate. It was hard. I didn't like it. Finally went to the TM place. I was like, oh, I like this one. And that helps me feel good. And so all things like that, it was building up this arsenal. And when I finally I worked with someone, awesome dude, invited me to this Zoom meeting of AA during the pandemic, fast forwarding. Mm-hmm. And when I spent time with some of those guys, understanding in a better and more holistic way what the 12 steps were, when I look back at my journey, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't thorough, but what blew my mind was I did the steps. spontaneously.
Really?
Yeah, which to me was such an amazing discovery and such a credit to what they are, because I was like, the wounded soul in want of healing will spontaneously do these things in some order, perhaps not thoroughly, perhaps not perfectly, but like it was a natural, like this is what I want to do next.
Really?
Totally.
That's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard that. I mean, I've heard of like people that stopped drinking on their own, but I haven't heard about people who kind of did the shadow steps on their or kind of rediscovered it.
Well, there was some guys saying like, have you've been out there by yourself? You must be so dry. Dry just means like angry or whatever. I was like, no. I mean, yeah, at times for sure, but no. And then it made me think, well, the steps relieved that. I was like, okay, thinking about it and looking back, I was like, I kind of did them, some of them.
Right. Right.
Not 4 and 5 the way I needed to. That came later. That came later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you got into those meetings, I mean, I found I was so entertained when I got into the meetings too. Yeah. Deeply entertained. Not in the sense of just being entertained, but just like, oh my God. They do say like if you put your problems in the middle and everybody puts their problems in the middle at the end, you'll gladly take yours back. So there was some of that, like, holy shit.
100%.
But there was also just like, I think what people miss sometimes is, again, how funny it is if you have that humility to laugh at your own mistakes and darkness and whatever. I mean, obviously a lot of it is not funny and a lot of it is painful, but the perspective that you get is one of humor. And I think, your laugh is just so free and spontaneous that I get that, from you.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Those rooms also, you were saying something before about like, that's not going to work for me because I need it tailor-made to me. And I'm
special.
100%, right? And then going in there and like hearing other people talk, you're like, no way. Like you're thinking that too? Like that was such a relief of like, okay.
Let's talk about meditation for a minute because what you just said, it reminds me of something that Jake Clark taught me. And I can't remember where he got it, and I'll fuck it up because it's new to me, but it's something like the extent to which I can be with that which I cannot be is the extent of my joy, freedom of expression, and creativity.
Yeah.
So I say that only to set up my own experience of meditation, which is also a quote about meditation is, it's one insult after another. That's what meditation is.
Where was that quote?
I don't know, but it's true. So when I started meditating, it's like, oh, that's what I'm thinking about all the time. Whatever you call it, the monkey mind, whatever you want to call it. And I had this perception. I don't want to say anything positive about drug use, but I OD'd myself on marijuana gummies by mistake about 2.5 years ago. And I had a psychotic kind of I bought the wrong ones.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to sleep. Instead, I got some crazy strength thing. And my experience, what happened was I started to hear all this really dark, negative self-talk. And my perception was like this screen had come down in my mind. And I was listening to the voice in my head, unfiltered. Usually I can filter it, but now I had it, and it was killing me. It was dark, and luckily my wife was on the phone, and we talked for like 12 hours.
Wow!
I don't know. I was fucked up.
Wow!
But I guess I'm thankful for the realization that this is a constant voice in my head. It's just the screen came down for a moment because of the drugs, and now I'm like, okay, well, that's what I'm dealing with all the time. And that's kind of a glimpse of what you get when you meditate, because when you quiet yourself, all of a sudden the background noise comes in, and the background noise is often the dark parts, the instinctual parts, the younger parts. And I wonder if that's kind of what you're dealing with when you're talking about meditation, or if that's what it gives you.
Have you read Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally the book that got me sober. That book changed my life.
So as meditation predated, obviously, the 12 steps for you. So like when you were kind of rediscovering the 12 steps on your own, meditation was a key component of that.
Yeah, and not even realizing that it's a key component of the 12 steps, basically, like, can I get centered enough to take myself enough out of the way to let God in the universe, like let me be grounded in what I am a part of, something larger versus all me. That's the thing when you really think about the voices that you were saying, like, being stuck with that is a punishment. From the outside, we think, oh, that person's self-centered,
Right.
which isn't good.
Right.
But, if you're drowning, who are you thinking about? You're thrashing.
Right.
You're just trying to get a breath. Like,
It's like my old pal Gary Shandling had this great joke where he said, I broke with my girlfriend. She was too self-centered. It was all me. Put me out. I'm on fire.
But there's an element of, like, I think there's something in there where, like, maybe if you can't stop focusing on all that stuff, there's some way in which you're in pain. Like, it's hard to get out of yourself. And this is where I told you I'm a fan of the show, and I've heard you talk about right action versus right thing. Yeah. Like, sometimes just go do something and your brain will kind of change 100%. Yeah. But for me, it was like the meditation was a way to practice the thing that blew my mind about the power of now, which was, and again, probably sounds obvious, but just being able to bring awareness to your attention. Just like, my attention is at my disposal, but it doesn't, that's not the way I've been living.
Right.
And I'm not saying I've not even gotten close to mastering that, but, like, I do choose. And then the Eckhart Tolle of it all, like the gentle, just notice. It's like what you were saying. I can't even imagine that 12 hours, bro. Like, that just sounds like...
It was dark.
That sounds like really dark. But we do that all to ourselves every day. Right. Like you said, you just got the unfiltered version of it. Right. So, like, is there a way sometimes where you can just notice, like, oh, my attention is on that voice? That, to me, is the mechanism of meditation that is useful. Is just like a slightly better awareness of, and this is just for me, but a slightly better awareness of, can I catch my attention before can I get it 5 minutes down the road instead of having to wait 2 hours down the road? Yeah. Like, can I be in this place for an hour? Because it's going to happen. Right. Versus 3 days.
What I was thinking when you were talking about meditation like that, I was thinking back to what we were saying about, what's right with drugs. That's the clip. What's right with drugs? But, when you deal with those voices, as you do, as I do, as we all do, there was a time when that was helpful, right? Mm-hmm. You got to go. It's not just like, hey, fuck you, voice, go fuck yourself. It's like, we've got to make peace. I think I have to make peace with those negative voices, because they provided a purpose at some point. They protected me at some point.
Oh, yeah.
They probably protected me from disappointment. I don't go for the new age, like everything's going to be okay, and that's all in the past. I go, how do we make the past work? How do we bring it into our present in a way that's healthiest for me? And that's one of the things I see in your work. I see it in Task, and I saw it in A Man in Full. You're able to you're really comfortable with showing the unsavory quality.
Huh.
Like you don't apologize for it. And there was, especially in A Man in Full, you were completely embracing kind of a sliminess or a just ambition
Yeah.
and jealousy. Like the guy was really fucked up.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look that fucked up, and he's got a decent job, and he's whatever he was doing. But you were so egoless, I thought, as a performer. I really thought that was a great performance. I don't know. They didn't list it, like in this. I don't know if you've talked about it much, but
Oh, thank you.
But I think,
yeah,
really tricky character to pull off.
Yeah. No, that was. Thank you. I haven't talked too much about that one. Yeah, that was tricky and really fun. Also, partially just because the tone of the whole thing was so like elusive. You know? There was days where we're doing a scene and I felt like I was in a 80s Rodney Dangerfield slapstick comedy.
Right.
And it was so fun to play in that world because usually they keep me far away from anything comedic,
I think it's a mistake.
Thanks, brother.
I think it's in your future. But anyway, so let's go. Before we end, I want to get you off the mountain, because you're off the mountain.
Yeah.
You're here.
Yeah. Get you off the mountain.
Well, how'd you get off the mountain? So you get sober, you live on the mountain, you're working steadily, but you don't live on the mountain anymore, and you have more than a dog now. So what happened?
My lovely manager providing a full service representation. She has been Kaley's manager, my partner, my fiancée, since Kaley was a kid.
Oh, really?
She was 16. Yeah. And so she had been cooking it up to have us introduced. And we were, and it was instantaneous. And, fell in love and jumped off the cliff together.
Yeah.
Which is a really beautiful experience. We were holding our daughter before we celebrated our 1-year anniversary. I mean, and I always say, like, Matilda's going to know she's a love child. She was absolutely born in total, and obviously we're still in love, and it just deepens and changes. But
how old is Matilda now?
2 years and 4 months, and she's heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, like you talk about a journey and, well, I mean, this is really the heart of your show is when I look back, I get emotional.
That's okay.
I wouldn't change a day, truly. Like, thank God I failed when I did. Thank God I struggled when I did, because if one day had been different, I might not have been single and met Kaley. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't have my daughter. And truly, I wouldn't trade them for the universe. So you look back and you have to say thank you to all of it.
I have nothing else to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for listening to Fail Better. If you haven't subscribed to Lemonada Premium yet, now's the perfect time, because guess what? You can listen completely ad-free. Plus, you'll unlock exclusive bonus content like the full version of my post-interview thoughts that you won't hear anywhere else. That's more of my recaps on interviews with guests like Chris Carter and Emily Deschanel. Just tap that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or head to lemonadapremium.com to subscribe on any other app. That's lemonadapremium.com. Don't miss out. Fail Better is a production of Lemonada Media in coordination with King Baby. It is produced by Keegan Zema, Aria Bracci, and Donnie Matias. Our engineer is Brian Castillo. Our SVP of Weekly is Steve Nelson. Special thanks to Carl Ackerman, Tom Popinski, Brad Davidson, and Jonathan Smith. The show is executive produced by Stephanie Whittles-Wax, Jessica Cordova-Kramer, and me, David Duchovny. The music is also by me and my band, the lovely Colin Lee, Pat McCusker, Mitch Stewart, Davis Rowan, and Sebastian Modak. You can find us online at Lemonada Media, and you can find me at David Duchovny. Follow Fail Better wherever you get your podcasts, or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership.